I found this at an antique store. I tried to search the numbers and letters on the front and could not find anything. It seems to be antique, but with digital screens. The knobs on the side seem to have 4 rows of adjustable numbers. The farthest one to the right seems to have only the numbers 1 to 12 on it, making me think it is related to dates back to the 1950s. The tag says, "I don't know exactly what this is, but for $45 it could be yours." Any idea what is this thing? It's an NCR stamping phone. It was the first automated credit approval system designed for high-end department stores. These are extremely rare, and only a handful are still around from the 1940s. These machines were placed throughout the store in the various departments. The stamping phones were used by sales staff when gaining authorization for credit. Same as today's modern-day credit line, but back then it was all internal. It's just a telephone to the back room where people can look up someone's file to see if credit is available, and a way to embed that information into a receipt. This machine is missing the little black tray at the bottom that holds receipts or copies. You will not see another one of these for sale for some time. I collect old telephones, but I still don't have this particular phone. What is this antique food serving thing that has a cork in the hollow handle? It's made of silver. It looks Victorian and about the size of my palm. I found it in a thrift store, and they said it's a serving spoon. But what's the hollow handle for that you need to put something to cork it? It seems like you could use that to poison people. Any ideas? It's an antique ice scoop. It allows you to fill the handle with hot water and cork it to keep the ice from freezing the handle and keeps your hand snug and unfrozen. I found this print in an antique mall. It says Blackbirds on it. The picture measures 15 by 12 inches including the frame. I have no idea of its age, but from the back of the piece it shows some age, and it has not been taken apart. What the heck is it? It's a Blackbirds painting by William F. Bell. The print was copyrighted in 1909 in Memphis, Tennessee. This picture shows African American babies who were colored and shaded in black, sitting in a tree on almost each limb with fear in their eyes. It's a derogatory photo that was used to mock African American children that fled to trees as a defense mechanism, because they were being used as alligator bait. A popular stereotype that took place during the slavery period is the baiting of black babies being used for white alligator hunters. Apparently, there's no current evidence that children were actually used as alligator bait, but it was a popular caricature and folktale in those days, possibly based on the claim that alligators preferred to eat black folks. So again, I don't know the veracity of this claims. A colleague of mine recently received this antique contraption as a present, yet we couldn't figure out what it is. The engraving in the metal piece reads Dodd and A Paris. Does anyone have a clue? It's an aglet crimping machine, decorated in Art Deco style and made around the 1930s. In the past, most aglets were made of metal and were created by either rolling or crimping a small strip of metal directly onto the shoelace. They stop the ends of the shoelaces from unraveling. Nowadays, most aglets are made of plastic and are formed directly onto the raw shoelace using a large, expensive shoelace tipping machine. What is this old piece I discovered in a Bay City antique mall in Michigan? It's an all-wood press with 4 huge screws and measures around 7 feet tall and 10 feet wide. I have no idea what it was used for, but it was awesome. It could be yours for $4,800. The writing at the top said Sebastiano and Theresa Weiser, but I think the rest of the words are in German. Any idea what is this thing? It's an old wine press from the 19th century. It's made entirely of oak with 4 spindles. Growing up we had something similar from my German grandfather in Moselle Valley, Germany. The inscription is probably the names of the German owners. This was at the front desk of my favorite antique store. It swivels when you push it down and then springs back. The owners didn't know what it was either. There was no real evidence that it was meant to be mounted. The only information I have about it is that it came from Iowa and is now in a store in Tennessee. Any idea what this could be? It's called a communion service, a device for pouring communion wine, patented by John G. Thomas of Lima, Ohio on July 16, 1901. The patent says, a further object of the invention is to provide a filler for the cups. by means of which the latter may be readily and expeditiously filled. Here's a modern version of it. What is this very unusual brass knuckles I found in my great-great-grandfather's things? He was a police officer in New York State, about the size of my hand and made of silver. Any ideas? It's a universal tool, patented by William Henry Thayer in Cleveland, Ohio on May 24, 1881. It's a household combination tool that has multiple applications, such as a holder for hot items in the kitchen, a meat tenderizer, and a trivet. What is this antique metal and iron thing? We found it in an old house in southern Oklahoma. It is metal forged iron, about 2 feet long, and potentially used in agriculture. Do you have any ideas about it? It's half of the horse hames that dates back to the late 19th to early 20th century. They are attached to a horse collar and used to distribute the load around a horse's neck and shoulders when pulling a wagon or plow. I found this from an antique store junk drawer. It came in a small tin with a slip of paper that says, German Inventors Fair 1953. I tried Googling for an hour, but turned up nothing. Any idea what it is? I'm German and I have faint memories of my grandma using something like this. It's a lockable insert for canned liquids, patented in 1954 in Nuremberg, Germany. There used to be small cans of evaporated milk from companies like Luxgally. You punch the sharp end into a can and pour the liquid out of it, and the lid is for sealing it. I found this at an estate sale in New Hampshire, about 3 feet tall, gold-colored, but silver inside. There are some sort of brackets on the back, and it's hollow like a bucket, and pretty lightweight. I don't know if the location matters, but given the rural nature of New Hampshire I thought it might help. Does anyone have a clue? It's a late 19th century French brass grape pod, circa 1860. It was used for collecting the harvest from the vines in the 19th century. This would have come from a wealthy chateau, as very few were made from brass. What is this thing I found at a farmhouse? The arm swivels and the drum spins. I didn't see any legible writing on the object, and I didn't really know where to start Googling. It's about 1.5 feet tall and 3 feet long, made of wood and metal. Looks over 70 years old, but that's a guess. I'd be really interested to know what this is or what it's used for. Please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.